Hello and welcome to the Cheap Seats, and this is our WWE 2024 predictions. I am the one that everyone is calling Orca Shield, yeah, and I am joined, and I am joined by our reigning, defending, undisputed champion of the world. It is Ryu, our tribal chief. So
Yes.
we are going to run through.
Me.
We are going to have 5 predictions each. We will read them out. We will have a little conversation about them, and then let us know down below any of your predictions. See which ones you agree with, which ones you think we're talking utter rubbish. So I'll start off with an interesting one, which I'd like to see your take on it. My first prediction for any time during 2024: Paul Heyman leaves Roman Reigns for CM Punk.
Oh, okay.
I think at some point this year, if we don't get the ending of the story like most people think is going to happen, with Roman losing at some point, maybe at Mania, which we might come on to later on, we don't know yet. But if people think that that's going to happen, then Heyman doesn't really need to stick around. And if it doesn't happen and you're slowly building up to have him lose next Mania, then he needs the rest of what's left of the bloodline to sort of fall away and disappear. So we can't keep getting like bailed out of matches. So I think if Heyman goes, you're then left with just Solo, Jimmy, and Roman, and then they can slowly cave in from that. But I think that Punk's back, as long as Punk doesn't do anything stupid and start having a mass brawl backstage after Elimination Chamber, allegedly. Then I think that we might get Paul Heyman leaving Roman's side and going back to Punk.
That's a really good one. I was actually thinking it won't be CM Punk that Paul Heyman leaves him for. It'll be Solo Sikoa.
You think he'll go for Solo?
Yeah, because there's always been this thing about Paul Heyman, who's always looking for the next big thing. Brock Lesnar, like that was his little tagline when he was first around. So I think there's going to come a point where Roman Reigns begins to abuse him, like he's going to really start to be a bit too hard on him. And I think he's going to start, like the whole sort of not necessarily a face turn for either, but like I think Paul Heyman will side with Solo Sikoa instead, because eventually we're going to see Roman Reigns become weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker. So he can't. I have no idea. I mean, we're obviously going to talk about Roman Reigns and Rock. Like, we're obviously going to talk about that at some point, but without getting into that too much right now, I think because it is time for Roman Reigns to do something else. Like, just take a break, maybe. Like
he takes a break every other week. He only turns up once.
yeah, but he did literally carry the company. Him and Seth carry the company for like 3 years, so he's allowed a little break now that they've got all these like things. So you think Paul Heyman is going to leave and rejoin with CM Punk?
I think so. The only thing that's making me doubt it more and more is that Punk is so good on the mic, and that's also what Heyman does. So I can see that that's why he gets put with Solo, because Solo isn't good on the mic. Not yet, but he's like, so maybe not. But I can just see like maybe Roman starts to abuse Heyman, and that's when Punk comes out and says, "Come on, you were better off with me," sort of thing. Let's do this.
But he doesn't. But he does. Yeah, the swervy thing is that he's going to rejoin Punk. But he doesn't. He actually goes with Solo, because Solo needs the mouthpiece. A bit like Brock. Like he's meant to be this like destroyer kind of character, and he just hasn't quite got it on the mic yet. He just needs to practice. He just needs to work on it, and I think he'll be fine. Because Roman Reigns couldn't talk on the mic initially. Now it's like, who is this? Like, this is great, because he makes it like. But having Paul Heyman do the talking, like his classic sort of thing, it's just because of like a hierarchy thing. So like Roman is so up the top of the hierarchy that he doesn't need to talk. He doesn't, or he shouldn't talk. Like he doesn't have to. He's going to get his subordinate to do it for him. Whereas for Solo Sikoa, it can be another advocate style thing, perhaps, because I think he just needs that mouthpiece initially, just to because I think people are already into him. Like they think, yeah, he's got promise. He could definitely do good things. Face turn, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Solo Sikoa does not need a face turn in the next couple of years. Not at all.
He needs to follow in Umaga's footsteps, I think, and just be this absolute enforcer that just beats people down.
An absolute monster. Absolute monster. Just ripping people to shreds. Like and he would do it, and he would do it, and people would believe it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Solo versus like the Uso, like Jay and or Jimmy, is on the cards as well. I think that would be quite a cool little feud to have. But yeah,
well, that's my first one anyway. That I've got him leaving for that. So we'll move on to your first one. And I will say now that we haven't told each other what we're going to say, so there might be some crossovers. So you guys at home know.
Okay. So my prediction: at some point in 2024, Jinder Mahal becomes champion again. I am totally fucking joking. I do not want that to happen again. I don't want that. No, for real. I think I predict that LA Knight will be world champion at some point this year. They cannot not pull the trigger on him now. They can't. They cannot go to the end of 2024 and not have LA Knight at least hold the belt once.
I'm assuming that you're going for the belt that Seth currently holds and not the one that Roman has.
The only reason why I would go with Seth is because although LA Knight has been featured very heavily in the Roman Reigns title picture, he's been for the majority of it, in my opinion, and it's a shame because you know I love LA Knight. He's been the third wheel, and even more so now that The Rock has come back. Now that Rock has come back, he's like a fourth. Like he's like he's not an afterthought, but he's like. Where his opportunity probably would have been after Mania, because we don't know what's happening with Rock. I mean, obviously, we hope it's going to be main event of Mania, but then that leaves Cody Rhodes with his unfinished story. We're not sure what's happening with Drew McIntyre. He's kind of picking fights with everyone at the moment. Jey Uso still has his thing to do. You know, CM Punk kind of is he's just throwing names, he's just picking fights as well. So it at the moment it's kind of like, you know, where do we go with the whole Roman Reigns title scene? And I remember saying to you that there was going to be a triple threat / fatal 4-way or some multi-man match for the title at some point soon, and you weren't sure. And look, at Rumble, you've got a 4-way, fatal 4-way at the Rumble. Oh. So, because you can't bring back Randy Orton, AJ Styles, have LA Knight in the picture, Cody Rhodes, and CM Punk. You can't have all of these guys back.
You've still got Drew, you've still got Damian Priest with his Money in the Bank. I mean, I wouldn't even class like mid-card as like Kevin Owens. I'd still say he's up there as well. Bobby Lashley, you've got Gunther when he eventually drops the IC. Like, the top of WWE is the most stacked it's been in years.
It is very difficult right now to pick an out-and-out champion for any of these events because it's back to a phase where we had, I can't remember, I think it was like in the mid-2000s, like early to mid-2000s, where every main event, so like you had like, let's say you had like Kurt Angle, Undertaker, Kane, Rock, Steve Austin in like in a multi-man match, and you were like, who's going to be champion at the end of this? I don't fucking know any of them because they were all credible. So we're back to that now, where out of Roman Reigns, LA Knight, AJ Styles, Randy Orton, any of those four could take it. Well, Reigns could retain, and he probably will. But any of the other three could easily win. Like it's totally plausible. But I think So one of my biggest predictions, and it's probably an easy one because everyone's going, well, of course, is LA Knight becomes world champion at some point this year. But does he take Roman's one, or does he because he do you know what I would really like? I would like to see LA Knight versus The Rock because they could have some fucking
The promos
awesome
would be
promos.
the promos between them.
The promos would be amazing, and then like The Rock would do the business, and he would like pass the torch to LA Knight, so LA Knight could take the belt that way. But yeah, it's a tough one because Damian Priest is fixated on Seth Rollins' title.
Yeah.
Because it is still kind of new, because he's still the one and only holder of that belt.
So it's not a prediction in my sense, but
it's a spoiler.
Do you think? And this is something that will be quite interesting because WWE for years, like the last 3 years, especially with the Roman story, Money in the Bank has become absolutely useless. They've like Theory decided to just go after the US title and still lose it. They they had the Otis thing where he had it for a bit and they didn't know what to do with that either.
He was still Otis back then.
Yeah, it's become this pointless thing. And do you think that when Damien finally cashes in, R-Truth's going to cost them in some way, in a funny way, just because you've got so many other stories to tell on every other belt that I can't see him cashing in before Money in the Bank in whenever it's going to be. June, April? No, June sometime.
I don't know. I think he's going to cash in at Mania, but I think it's going to be a bit like how Rollins first got his how he did his, like when he cashed in,
joining the match midway, not at the end.
Yeah, midway through the match, because Priest can go. So whatever the match is at Mania between Seth and whoever, right? Priest will come down 3/4 of the way, halfway through, because there'll be something about Seth's knee or something. Like there'll be something where it looks like the match is going completely in one direction. Priest comes down, cashes in, so now he's involved in the match. One of the competitors is going to be like, he's going to be injured, and then Priest will do, or it'll be one of those things where the belt changes hands and the person's celebrating, but they're they're almost beaten. Priest just comes down, hits them with the case, cashes it in, does his finisher. But I think what might be funny is if instead, I'll flip what you said. Is if R-Truth unwittingly helps Damian Priest cash in.
Yeah, he just like shucks it in and cashes in for him halfway through something.
Yeah. But Priest walks away with the belt. Like that would be quite, because then he can't not let him in the Judgment Day. Like he can't not agree to it.
Right.
But we'll see what happens come Mania. Mania is probably better to make those kind of predictions. But you're right. Money in the Bank, it doesn't have the appeal it once had. Because with all the failed cash-ins that we've had, and then Austin, I know we know what happened with the Otis thing. We know that Austin Theory wasn't ready when he had the briefcase. He just wasn't ready. He just wasn't ready. And then now it's like now you've got someone who has some credibility behind them. It's part of a pretty cool faction. They're doing the comedy stuff, but they're also doing the good work. And then it's like, what do you do? Like, do you actually let him cash in, or do you fail it because it's funny if R-Truth messes it up? Or and he's like, they're like, you'll never be in the Judgment Day, and then R-Truth starts crying, and little Jimmy starts crying, and
he just brings little Jimmy back. Right, we've chucked in an extra prediction there for everyone because that wasn't one of mine anyway. That was just on the end of yours after we were talking about how stacked the roster is. So we'll we'll move on to my next one. I'm going to skip my actual second one and go on to my third one because we're on the subject of how top heavy the WWE is. Mine for 2024 is Drew McIntyre wins a championship in another company.
Oh, okay.
I think he is done. Ooh. I think he's getting annoyed. Okay. They didn't have the money. They didn't extend his contract last year when they started bringing up all this, like he wanted more money. He's since seen, as we've just said, Punk come back and go straight for Seth. We've got Cody, who's his never-ending stories carrying on. You got The Rock just come back and like force his way into a main event. Like we said in the last one, Gunther, as soon as he drops that IC belt, you can't not put him towards one of them big titles. Like there's so many people going around that I think Drew is just being shafted out of it because he never really got his moment in front of a live audience because all his was Thunderdome, and he carried the company through the Thunderdome and they just haven't given him anything back. So I think that he is going to shoot off again to somewhere else. Don't know if it's going to be AEW. It might just be something like, I don't know. I know they're all owned by it. He might go to Impact or something like that and just randomly have a run there.
Well, this is interesting. You brought that up because I don't know if you saw, but they're all owned by TKO. They're all owned by the same parent company. And then someone put they were like speculating about at Worlds Collide. They were saying how. Who knows? At Worlds Collide, they could collide TNA with NXT or something, and because like Drew is fed up and stuff, like he could go there and do something. Maybe I don't know. He did say something about having to leave and come back to realize their potential, or something like that. He said that on Raw.
Yeah,
when he was talking to Cody. Yeah, I feel sorry for him. I really do. I thought you were going to say that your prediction was that Drew McIntyre wins a championship, but abroad. So if they do another big event over here or in the UK or Ireland, that Drew wins it then, because they a lot of people are sort of saying that he should have won at Clash of the Castle.
Yeah. They had a chance then, but I think that they've just committed too much time into Roman. But with the amount of like the top of the roster, like if you've even got the likes of main event Jay, you've got Sami Zayn, who are now the fans have boosted up to be in this main event picture. That there's just no and LA Knights in there, AJ Styles, Randy Orton, they're all back. Where does Drew McIntyre fit in that? I think he sees that all these people have come back in after he's pretty much carried the company through the lockdown period. Through Thunderdome, it was all Drew, and like the pop he got when he eliminated Brock in the Royal Rumble, and he's just fizzled out completely from how he's gone to now.
I don't know. It kind of depends on it. It depends. It depends. I think we need to see what happens. I would be sad to see him go again, especially after everything. But it might be what he needs.
Yeah.
It might, and he may well go to AEW.
Yeah.
We don't know. But yeah.
Or he just rocks up back in NXT and just claymores Baron Corbin whenever he finally gets that belt and just runs NXT.
He could. I mean, it wouldn't. It's not the worst thing to drop down to NXT to do a title run. If there's nothing for you on the main roster.
Do a title run. It takes the eyes off, because that'll be the Wednesday night is still the war between NXT and AEW, so they could always put a big name on that. But yeah, for me, I can't see him winning either of the top belts. Sadly,
not at the moment.
Because I really want him to, but yeah, I think he's just he's getting more and more fed up. Like it was when Punk returned, he stormed to the back, and you could see like the people that knew that Punk was coming out sort of had to usher him to get him out of the way quickly because he was walking up the ramp. And he said that he did it in character, but as soon as he got back into like the gorilla area, he packed, and he didn't even like get changed. He just packed his bags and went left straight away because he was that fed up with that match. I don't know if a spot went wrong. No one's really said, but he literally just left War Games early and just took off. So I can't see him being happy there anymore, unfortunately. And I do think he's probably going to just dip when his contract runs out in the middle of the year.
Yeah, it's a shame. If that happens, it'd be a shame. But yeah. So So okay. So you think that Drew's going to win a title, but in a different company?
Yeah, I'm not going to
Okay.
say he's going to go to AEW because I don't know if that'll be something that he does, but because I think he is still sort of a WWE guy at heart. But I could see him now, like you say, now that TKO own so many things, Impact could easily be the one that he goes back to, or TNA. I can't remember which one's owned by AEW and which one isn't. One of them is, and one.
I thought TNA and Impact were the same thing.
Don't know. Maybe they are. Yeah,
I thought it was like Raw and SmackDown. They were just two different shows.
Yeah. Or
Yikes,
he just like
that's me exposing how much I don't watch other promotions.
He just disappears off like New Japan or something like that. I don't know.
He could, yeah, he could. I mean, because I know that there's still talks. Well, there's still stuff going on between trying to get a good deal for both promotions in Japan and the WWE. Like, so New Japan working with WWE, but then they've also worked with AEW. So yeah, it's difficult there, but you know, Triple H likes a lot of the talent from there. So
yeah. Anyway, that's mine. So we'll let you get on to your next big prediction for the year.
Okay, my next prediction is that Chad Gable becomes Intercontinental Champion, proper workhorse champion, and he will hold it for a while. He will be the one to dethrone Gunther, I think. I think Chad Gable will dethrone Gunther, and then he'll hold the belt for a long time. Maybe not as long, but he'll hold it for a long time before he drops it again. Before he drops it at all.
Yeah, I'm all for that.
Yeah, he just feels like it's a bit like with LA Knight. It's like you can't wait any longer. If you want to get as much as you can out of Chad Gable, now's the time. Like, you can't wait anymore. If they go through this calendar year and he doesn't get a title reign, then he never will. He never will, unless like something awful happens and there's everyone's ill, like everyone gets sick or everyone gets like the new strain of COVID, and like him and a few others are the only ones left, and they have to vacate the title, like that sort of bullshit. You know?
The only thing I'd go against that, like, I want to see Chad Gable with an IC title. I want to see him have a nice run, but at the same time, I want to see Sheamus become a Grand Slam champion. And the only belt that he needs left is the IC belt, which he said that as soon as he comes back, because he's nearing a return, that's the belt he's going for. He's not interested in anything else. He wants the IC belt.
Okay, we could see some interesting matches then between Gunther, Chad Gable, and Sheamus. Triple threats.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I think both of them, like in their own singles matches with Gunther, put 5-star matches on, didn't they? Sheamus and Gunther beat the hell out of each other at Mania and like stole the show.
That was
and then
to watch. And
then Chad Gable and Gunther on Raw, a random episode of Raw, put on a 5-star match.
Yeah,
just like
I think everyone was like, "Oh shit, this guy's legit!" Like, oh my god, this was proper wrestling. It's like, yeah, like, do you know Chad Gable's history? Like, yeah, it was crazy.
But no, everything else, I do want to see Chad because he does deserve it. He's got so over with like the Alpha Academy, from like one of the top heels in WWE's like tag team, like that they were pushing to be just absolute arseholes that no one liked, to organically just becoming like one of the most popular teams on TV.
Yeah, with the Kira Tozawa as well.
Yeah.
I think Triple H, like, because Triple H is clearly back in charge now. Like, he's clearly in charge. You can just see from just the way things like that. Like, you've got the funny wrestling, like with R-Truth. Some of what Ludwig Kaiser and them lot in the New Day are doing, it's a bit it's a bit serious.
Yeah.
But like he's working on stable wrestling, like stables. So he's working on groups. Like, it seems like there's more big factions now than there are singles wrestlers, because normally you have like you have a whole bunch of singles wrestlers, and they're all fighting for the same thing. Okay, but now you've got Judgment Day, Bloodline, you've got New Day, you've got Imperium, you have the Viking guys,
You've got
the
I can't
Alpha
remember
Academy.
You've now got Karrion Cross's new ones, the Final Judgment. That's what they've called themselves.
I'm not keen on that name. That name doesn't sit well with me. It sounds
I think
too.
it's something like the Final Judgment. I can't remember what it is. They copyrighted it, and then that's what they've called themselves.
They've got Judgment Day.
Yeah. I think
terrible.
it's meant to be because it's like the Authors of Pain. It was some biblical thing, I think, because they had the Authors of Pain, and then they had obviously Karrion Cross. But then everyone was saying that what's the other fella called that's with the Authors of Pain? They reckon he's going to be the actual. They reckon he's going to be be the actual leader, and everyone's going to think it's Karrion Cross and all that. That's what people were saying. And then you've also got Bobby Lashley's. You've got Bobby Lashley's. They've got a new name now.
Okay.
I can't remember what it was because Bobby Lashley put it out on. Well, they've never actually been called it on television, but Bobby Lashley put out a tweet like sort of referring to the name that people were calling them, and then that was it.
He might be pitching it in a way. So he says it and he sees what the reaction from people is, and if people start organically just referring to them as that, then they'll probably just go with it. But yeah, they've got. So what I'm saying is there's a lot of like, not just tag teams, but there's like factions. There's like groups. So like 3 or more people is a group. It's a stable. It's a faction.
Yeah.
It's not just a tag team. Tag teams are strictly like 2 people and a manager or a valet. But if you've got 3 active wrestlers or more, it's a stable, like the Freebirds. So this is typical. Like I say, typical Triple H, but in a good way. Like because he was in DX, and then he was in Evolution and stuff. The Authority, like. He gets how factions work.
Yeah.
And it's good to have singles wrestlers and stuff, but it's also good to have faction guys too.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. So your next prediction is that Chad Gable is going to win the IC belt and go on a run. He's going to be the.
Yeah, it just makes the most sense. But then you said about Sheamus. I don't know.
Certainly because Sheamus is now nearing his retirement, isn't he? And I think he deserves it. He deserves at least to hold it, so he can call himself a Grand Slam champion, and then.
Yeah, if he wins it, he won't hold it for long.
No,
he'll hold it for maybe a month or so, and then he'll drop it.
He could always be that sort of transitional champion to Chad.
Yeah,
if it goes from Gunter, Sheamus, then into Chad.
But the thing is, Sheamus doesn't need the shine of getting it from Gunther, who's now the longest reigning IC champ of all time. Whereas Chad Gable still has the ears in him. He could have that, and it's the whole David and Goliath story as well. Whereas Sheamus is another Goliath, so it's a bit like Goliath versus Goliath. I think Sheamus can win it down the line. I just don't think it needs to be this year. But like you said, but they could make that into a story. Like he comes out on the mic as Sheamus, as himself, and he just says, "Look, okay, I haven't got long left in my career, so I want to make sure that I've accomplished everything that I can. And one of the things I haven't done is win the IC title. So I'm putting Gunther on notice." And Gunther comes out doing his thing, but then Chad Gable's like, "Hold on a second, you're not the only person who wants this." Da 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 da. And the story, the thing becomes like we're watching Sheamus chase his the final achievement for him to be able to retire happily, because people can be invested in characters, but when someone is like, okay, I've a limited amount of time left before I have to pack it in. People kind of put their feelings aside for whether they liked Sheamus as a character or not, and they're kind of like, nah, the guy deserves it. Like, he's been around for years. He has done it all almost. Like, and then people were like, "Yeah, I want to see him win it now." So then they'll like every time he's close, they'll be wanting him to do it, and then you know, and then
Yeah.
they'll pull the rug quickly, and then they'll let him win it at some point, and it'll be at some cool event where he can really like
Back in
celebrate.
the UK somewhere, he gets that standing ovation from the fans. Yeah.
Maybe in Ireland they'll host a like a B event like I don't know,
Fastlane or something like that.
Yeah, Fastlane, Backlash.
Yeah.
You know, something like that. They'll host something like that in Ireland, and Sheamus can you know, he can win it there in front of a home crowd. You know, I think that's nice. I think that'd be nice. That's what I said about Drew McIntyre. Same thing in Scotland or the UK somewhere, whatever thing. He wins a major like achievement there. You know, in the like in front of the home crowd. So we'll see.
And then he'll sing American Pie.
He'll pledge his allegiance to the flag.
Right, so that's your one. So I'll go back up to my one that was going to be second. And it's still staying on title belts, but a new title belt is going to be introduced at some point this year.
Oh, okay.
And I think that there is going to be the 20-foot now, so the 24/7. I think that the women are going to, the women are going to get a mid card. Yeah, yeah. R-Truth's going to dust it off. He's going to carry it into Judgment Day. No, I think the women are going to get a mid card title because at the minute you've got Big Mammy Rhea that's going to dominate that for a bit. You've still got, hopefully I know she's injured. No one likes to see anyone injured even if you don't like the person or the wrestler, but Charlotte Flair's always going to be in that title picture. You've got Becky Lynch. You've got Bailey. She hasn't had a title match in years, and it's like stuff. Or she had a title match, but she never held a title in years. Sorry, she keeps having them. You've got Bianca Belair. You've got loads of these like insane women. Like the women's division is sort of the strongest it's been in years, as well as the men's. And then you've just got like Kyrie's come back. You've got Oscar, who would still go for the main one, but then you've got people like Liv, who's maybe not quite there yet. You've got Shayna Baszler, who should be up there, but for some reason never is. You've got like all of these like up and comers from NXT, like you could have Roxanne, Cora Jade, Gigi Dolan. You've got Tiffany Stratton. They're all going to come up into the main roster soon, and there's just nothing apart from that one main belt and a tag team belt, which there's no tag team. There's no women's tag teams. I think the last proper tag team they had would be the Iconics. I think maybe you could cast Katana Chance and I can't remember what her teammate's called, but because I think they were a tag team at some point, but everyone else just seems to be like, yeah, you two single stars, there you go, have a title match. It's like at the minute it's like Piper Niven and Chelsea Green. Like it's like the episode of South Park. I think it's South Park. It might be Family Guy, where it's just the manatees in a tank and they just pick a ball up and just bring it back, and that's the joke.
I'm pretty sure that is the crossover episode where South Park and The Simpsons.
Possibly, or I don't know.
No. It was South Park taking a dig at Family Guy and how they come up with their jokes.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's how WWE have made the women's tag division. It's just, off you go, Manatee. Who are you bringing back? Oh, look at that. We've got Sonya Deville, right? Who are you going with? It's just some random name just gets brought out. It's
like the Champions League draw.
Yeah, pretty much.
They just got a pot with people's names in, and they just draw names. They're like, oh, Mickey James comes back. Like she's tagged with Natalia.
Yeah, you've even now got this. I want to say dominant faction, but they are still getting shafted even with the new people. You've got Damage Control, who are like should be a force to be reckoned with. When you've got Kairi Sane, Asuka, like Dakota Kai is a mouthpiece, and even when she's wrestling, she's still a good wrestler. You've got Bailey sat there doing nothing. You've got Io Sky. How have they not got the tag belts and just dominating that division? Like they should just be. They should be the boss. That they could even they could go around and just have like Damage Control is the champions, and then like 1 week you could have like Dakota Kai and Io come out and defend the belts, and then the next week you could have like any one of them can just come out and defend the belts and just have like we're a team. We all work together. Try and beat us something.
So I think therein what you've just said encompasses the problem. because you've got Io Sky, you've got Dakota Kai, Bailey, Asuka, Kairi Sane. Okay, 5 very, very good performers, and you've got no one to oppose them. There's no other big faction of women's wrestlers. There's just no one. They're like classic sort of. None of them coexist.
Yeah.
So you've got like Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark teaming up for some reason other than the fact that they both look like legitimate hard asses, right?
I don't think it's not that they look legitimate hard asses. I think they both are legitimate.
Yeah. Well, okay, yeah, they are. No, they definitely kick the shit out of me. That's for sure. It's just one of those things where it's like, when Damage Control were just 3, you could be like, all right. So they're 3. So there's always going to be 2 wrestling or 1 wrestling. The others are going to run interference. Okay, well, you can kind of see why that works. Now that there's 5, and you're right, like Bailey's not doing much. We don't know why. But maybe she's just taking a back seat to just let people actually think. I haven't seen Bailey for a while. I'd quite like to see her do something. And then they can go, right, now we'll pull the trigger on that. But I just think, I don't know, the women's division does not need a mid-card belt, in my opinion. It's not established enough. Like, it's just not featured enough for me to warrant a mid-card belt, really.
I think they could even bring in a mid-card belt and just give the women's tag division the old 24/7 treatment and just, there goes them belts. Bye-bye.
Until they start getting women's tag teams.
Yeah, you had the Bella Twins, you had the Iconics, and that's literally like the only 2 teams I can really think of women that were ever a tag team. You had obviously you had Paige's faction, and you had Fire and Desire. Was that Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville? And then obviously Mandy had her Toxic Attraction, which worked. Gigi Dolan and JC Jane were a good tag team, but then split them up.
Split up. Yeah.
Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez were a tag team for a bit, split up.
I'm certain that someone referred to Kairi Sane and Asuka before Kairi left as the Kabuki Warriors or something.
Yeah,
like that.
They were the Kabuki Warriors.
So that was a tag team too. So they had tag teams, and then all of a sudden, just like that, they dissolved the fucking lot of them, and they were like, "Oh, but by the way, we're bringing in a women's tag." Why? There are no women's tag teams.
Yeah,
you've got one now, and that isn't just 2 singles wrestlers thrown together. And it's Damage Control, and there's fucking 5 of them.
Yeah, the only thing I think that they'd benefit more from that mid-card belt rather than the tag team is you could have someone like Jade Cargill or Nia Jax, someone do like a gun for sort of run where they're elevating all of these lower cards like Xia Li, Michin, Shotzi could even have a nice little run with a mid-card belt because she's not going to get the main one. And you could have all these other, like Tegan Knox and all that, they could all have the nice fights. And then if you do eventually beat Nia or Thing, then obviously Nia or Jade Cargill will then end up in the main event picture, but also you could have could elevate so many of them lower talent that just aren't going to get a shine in with Bianca and all that just running the title scene.
See, that's the thing. The women's division is very top heavy at the moment. They're very, very top heavy. But the thing I find the most baffling, and I don't know whose decision it is. It baffles me that they introduced tag team belts into a division that had very little tag teams to begin with. It was won by 2 singles wrestlers who are friends, so they're not an actual tag team. I think even by that point the Iconics were on the verge of splitting up or had split up. So why did they introduce? I think it was like trying to wish something into existence. So by bringing out tag team titles and bringing them into existence, I think they were kind of hoping that there would start to be more women's tag teams, but that didn't happen. So now they're just fucked, and they're like they've got these belts, and they're like don't really know what to do with them. I think you're right. I think they're right. They need to just quietly, very without much fanfare, just bin off the women's tag and bring in something else for them to compete over.
You could even do.
I think that's probably the best.
You could even do like, say for example, because like we've said, they chuck together random teams. If you had, say, I don't know, say they bring up some NXT talent, Tiffany Stratton's on Raw, you've got Gigi Dolan on SmackDown. All of a sudden, they become a tag team for whatever reason. They win the belts and then split the belts, and then you've got one for Raw, one for SmackDown mid-card championships for the women, and then it.
But how? Yeah, sorry, go on.
You could just, I'm not saying that, I don't know how it would work, but I'm just thinking that that's a way that you could get rid of the tag belts and say, right, I'm going to take this one over here because I'm on Raw, I can't be on SmackDown, and I'm on SmackDown, can't be on Raw, whatever. And they just split the belts in half and then change one's design or whatever. So one stays like the white strap, almost like IC style. The other one can get a new belt. And then you can sort of split it up that way, and it gets rid of the tag belts because they're on them.
In the universe, that would be a good idea, but how deep is the women's roster? Like if you didn't have the tag teams of like these cobbled together tag teams, if every single if every single person was now a singles competitor, except for factions and groups, if they're all competing for singles championships, it leaves a sort of void where factions won't last because they end up infighting a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I think they could, like I said, just quietly bin off the tag team one. Like, like someone could, like, I don't know, who's a bad guy in the women? Nia Jax, right? She could win the tag team title on her own.
Yeah.
She could do a Braun Strowman and win it with a child or something. But then she could be like, "This means nothing to the women's division. This is garbage." Like she could call out reality and be like, "How many tag teams do you see? Real tag teams?" And she could name a few if she wanted. She'd be like, "Apart from Damage Control, none, not anymore." She goes, "These are worthless," and she just gets rid of them. But as champion, she can be like, "I want my own belt, one belt, and I want it to run alongside the other belts in the division." Yeah, so I know you've got one for Raw, one for SmackDown. Well, they could have like you said, a mid-card belt that defends on both brands, because then that means you've got more matches, you've got more like options. You got because you've got Raw and SmackDown. Well, they can compete across brands.
Yeah, even into NXT or whatever.
Yeah, because the women's division is not that deep, and unfortunately, it's not that deep. So you eventually, if you have someone like Nia Jax or Jade Cargill as the inaugural champion, eventually the well runs dry of legitimate challengers before someone in the main event picture like Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, whoever drops down to try and take on that belt.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. There's a lot of like logistics that come into play with that, I think.
Yeah. Well, that's my third anyway, so we'll get on to your third, and then we'll.
So this is a bit of a silly one, really, but so for Mania, The Rock faces Roman Reigns, but not for the title, not for that title. He faces Roman Reigns for the title of head of the table or tribal chief, whatever you want to call it. So I thought about this because I was thinking, right, if Rock comes back, if he loses to Reigns at Mania, all that does is just put another layer of icing on top of Roman Reigns' championship cake. Because then Rock's come back, giving it the big one like he does, and then he's got beaten. Like, is that what people want? Like, that's not what people want, right? They want to see Roman start getting his fucking ass tanned. So, but Rock also won't stay beyond Mania. We know that. He's too busy. He's got his own businesses. He's got his act. He's doing his act.
He's going to be president.
Yeah, apparently, yeah. Why not? I fuck it. Why not? Why not? You've had Donald Trump as fucking president, and he took a stunner. Rock's taken as many stunners in his career, so he can be so he can be champion too, president too. Sorry. No. So I don't think it benefits WWE for Rock to come back and then challenge for the title. Okay, I think it muddies the water too much with everyone else competing for the title. Okay, so I think we're gonna see as time goes on, when we get Rock on TV, he's gonna lean more into the history of the Anoa'i family. He's gonna lean more into his father, grandfathers, like, High Chief Peter Maivia, or like he's gonna go through the lineage, and he's gonna be like, I'm part of that lineage, and not once did I call myself the tribal chief or the head of the table. He was like, but he's like, but I've been sat there.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm the Rock, I'm the people's champion, and he'll be like, and the chief looks after his people. And like a real chief, and he's gonna blur those lines a bit with the wording. So he's gonna be like, I don't want the title at Mania, because he knows that what's he gonna do? He's just gonna drop it the next night. He's gonna win it, be like, yeah, Rock's champ again. Everyone's gonna be like, yeah. And he's just gonna drop it next night. He's just going to drop it to like Jinder Mahal or something. I don't know. Sorry, I keep fucking going on about this.
Stop
I can't believe
Jinder.
He's back. I just can't believe he's back. Like after everything, and the whole like the mild racism that they did. That everyone was like, oh no, what the fuck? That he's back and jobbing again. But it's wonderful to see, really. But Rock will not stay in the WWE beyond Mania, or if he does, it won't be for long. It'll be for maybe a week or two, and then he'll drop the title and then things. So I don't think he's gonna go for the belt. I think he wants the title of head of the table or tribal chief, or he wants to beat Reigns so that Reigns can't use that title anymore. Because it's disrespectful or something. Like because the bloodline. The whole thing about the bloodline is it's been family matters.
Yeah.
Like for the majority of it, it's been family matters. So like, and Roman Reigns has said it so much, where he's been like with Sami Zayn, he was like, "I bring you into my family," and it's like when he's shouting at him and stuff. So he's always been heavy on the whole family thing, and then Rock comes back and he's like, don't know about that. You've been running our family into the ground a bit with this whole tribal chief thing. And yeah, he beat who was he feuding with first? Was it Jey Uso still? Like at the beginning it was Jey. Yeah, at the very beginning it was Jey. Where he got given the title of tribal chief. So I don't know. I think Rock is gonna. He's not gonna go. I don't think he's gonna go for the gold. I think he's gonna go for a different title, the title of tribal chief. And when he wins, because he will, because this is what I'm sorry. This is the point I'm getting to. Sorry, I got way off track. Is that when Roman Reigns loses that match, he's still the champion. Potentially, depending on what happens at Elimination Chamber and Rumble, he'll still be champion. But this is where his influence and his power.
The cracks start to show more, and
because
Jimmy.
Now he can't. Yes. Now he's not tribal chief. Now he's not head of the table anymore. It's Rock. So now he's just WWE champion Roman Reigns, and every time he comes out, even though he's got the belt and he's still champ. Even though he comes out, when the announcers and even Paul Heyman can't use it anymore. So Paul Heyman kind of just, they do it really sour. He's like, the WWE champion, Roman Reigns. Like it's like all of the the pomp, the pageant is all lost. And now he's just another and you can see it just gets to him. Every time they announce him, Paul Heyman does it. It just gets to him that he's not the tribal chief anymore. He's not head of the team, and I think that's how they should build it. And then he starts lashing out at Solo. He starts lashing out at Jimmy. He starts lashing out at Paul Heyman, and that's when the decline of the bloodline happens. And that's when they start. Like, you know, like he'll be in a match needing help from Solo, and he's like, "Solo, get in here, help me!" And Solo's just like, "Nah, not really. Like, you know, you're not my tribal chief anymore." Like, and he just fucks off. Maybe Rikishi could do it for The Rock one more time and have it work in Solo's ear. I don't know. I don't know.
That's how Mania ends.
Rikishi, I did it for The Rock again.
Roman Reigns' music hits, he comes out on the entrance ramp and just a car hits him. Just Rikishi gets out. I did it for The Rock.
Well, that's his time off. That's his time off sorted out.
I like that pitch so much until the end where we've just turned it into Rikishi murdering the Roman Reigns for The Rock.
Attempted murder.
Attempted murder.
Because he wasn't successful.
I genuinely think, though, I couldn't think of a way that they were going to get the belt off Roman Reigns without, because obviously they've built him up for 4 years now. But that actually makes sense that if he doesn't have that title, all of a sudden, like, his help just disappears.
And not just that, but like, yeah. So yeah. Like, but his own belief in himself, starts to diminish. Like his own belief in himself starts to diminish.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't have the belief in himself anymore. Like he's going way beyond his usual cheap tactics to maintain the belt. Like he really starts to cheat, like, and like count out victories, DQ victories, you know, because the belt, the other person can win by DQ or count out, but the belt doesn't change hands. So he can start going down that route of being like the really sort of slimy, you know, like really awful champion, you know, like he's not beating people clean anymore. He's just getting counted out.
Yeah.
Because he's run off. Because he's in the ship.
Yeah.
You know, I think because that was a conversation, because I was like showing Squish, I was like, look, Rock's back. She's like, well, what's he gonna do? I'm like, probably challenge Roman Reigns, like Reigns versus Rock. That's what we've wanted for ages. She was like, yeah, but if he wins the title, he ain't staying.
Yeah.
Like he's not staying around. And I'm like, yeah, I know that. you're not telling me anything I don't already know. So I said, yeah, but when they say the word title,
it could be for that title instead.
It doesn't necessarily mean the championship belt.
That's really, so we need to send that one to WWE. That one, that's probably the best prediction of the lot, and it definitely will stay the best prediction of the lot. Looking at my last two, but my next one, it ties.
Let's hear them.
It ties into your one well. This next one,
okay, go on.
And my next one is Cody Rhodes doesn't finish the story at WrestleMania.
I shouldn't laugh.
I think he keeps going on about this story, but if you look at what happens 100 days after WrestleMania, I think it's about 100 days after WrestleMania, Roman will pass Hulk Hogan's record. That's his next stepping stone.
And that is one thing that they want to definitely do.
Yeah, and that is about 100 days after Mania, I think. Because I think after that, it's like obviously you've got Andre the Giant and stuff like that. It's probably never going to be beaten, because that's when wrestling happened once every 4 months, and he just held on the belt because he only had to defend it about 5 times in that entire reign, similar to Roman Reigns's. But
Sick.
Yeah, but I think that they might spoil next week. I don't know. I don't think that he's going to win the Rumble. I know that commentary have been pushing it for like, oh, no one's won. Yeah. I think that they've gone for no, because commentary keep pushing it, like especially last week they've gone, the Royal Rumble's coming up. No one's won back-to-back Royal Rumble since Stone Cold in years ago.
Okay, good. I was about to say, pretty sure Steve Austin did, and I'm pretty sure that Shawn Michaels won no.
But I think
Shawn Michaels. He's won it. He's won it more than once, but he
Yeah.
hasn't won back to back.
but I think it was something like 15 years ago, maybe even more now, since they've had a
Yeah.
back-to-back winner. So they keep pushing that on commentary, saying that no one's won it back-to-back, which is either Cody's going to do it and be the first in since Stone Cold, or he's not. But either way, I just don't see him beating Roman Reigns at WrestleMania and getting that finish in that story. I think he will at some point, but I don't think it's going to be now. Not with Hogan's record just looming around the corner, because then Roman Reigns just becomes the best in pretty much. Well, he's already up there as one of the best of all time. But like I say, I don't think you're going to ever get him to beat the big record, because they only wrestled once every 6 months or whatever it was back in the day. It was always at Madison Square Garden. It was like once every whatever it was. And that's the only reason that a lot of them held onto the belt for so long.
Oh, you mean who was it? Was it Bruno Sammartino?
Yeah, Bruno Sammartino. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, Bruno Sammartino.
Some mad number, but he actually only defended it maybe 12 times.
Yeah, because that's the main. No one's beaten that one, but then I don't think that should count when it's once every 6 months or whatever it is. So
yeah. So okay, that's interesting you say that. I unfortunately, based on everything that's happened towards the end of last year and the beginning of this year, I agree with you. I don't think he's going to finish the story how he's obviously got this vision in mind. I don't think this is the year where the story gets finished.
No, it could even be next year if they string it out.
I think, providing that he stays healthy, WWE keep paying him. I mean, how can they not?
Yeah,
everyone's still into him after all this time.
Because the thing that people,
he's a good guy, Cody.
Yeah, the thing that people don't like, they're confused and they're mixing two storylines up or doing it in their head, the Mandela effect or whatever. Because Cody Rhodes keeps saying he wants to finish his story, which is holding the belt that Dusty Rhodes never had, whatever it is, the championship. His story does not mention anywhere that he has to beat Roman Reigns for that belt. It's just his story is I want to hold that belt at some point. And everyone seems to think that he has to beat Roman. That's the only way he can finish his story. I was like, no, that's not what it is.
It's got nothing to do with Roman Reigns. It just so happens that Roman Reigns is the person holding the belt right now.
Yeah. So I don't think that Cody's going to do it. I think people are going to be upset again if it is Cody and Roman, but I still think Roman's going to leave that night as champion and go on to beat Hulk Hogan's record. Which
I think so. They kind of, I mean, they keep saying that they've mended relationships with him, but then something else comes to light, and then they're like, oh no, we actually don't want anything to do with him anymore. Make up your mind. You either want Hogan as one of your things, or you don't. Yeah. Right? Like, you make up, just make a decision. And I'm not going to lie, if I was at a live event and his music hit, I would lose my fucking mind. Because it's just one of those things where
it's an iconic theme that gets you
not just that. He was the guy when I was a kid. When I started watching wrestling, Hogan was the man. Like, Warrior was cool. Obviously, not so much now. I know more about things, but at the time he was cool. But Hogan was like, he was the guy. Like him and Sting, because I used to watch WCW as well. So him and Sting for me were the two like top wrestling ever. And even when he came back in the 2000s, and he had the match with Rock at Mania. I think it was X8. I think it was WrestleMania X8. Fuck, like I was so hyped for that. Like I unbelievably hyped. Everything that has happened since has been like unfortunate. It's been very like it's not been good. It's not done him any favors. But the WWE 1 minute they want to acknowledge him and this, that, and the other, and they're like, yeah, Hogan's gonna be a host at Mania. Then he's not. Like, oh no, actually we're dropping all ties with him and this, and I'm like, well, make up your mind. Like for me, I'm indifferent. I don't care. Like, but if I was at a live event and they play his music and he comes out there and does his thing, I would still lose my mind because it's just I can't deprogram that.
Yeah.
That's just something that I is in me. And but yeah, they want to expunge Hogan's record now.
Yeah, definitely.
It's been nearly what 28 years or something like that. Something crazy.
Something like that.
So and like you said, defending it every 3 months didn't really count. So they should probably let Reigns pass it and be like, he was actual defending champion. So
yeah, well, that's fine anyway. Nice short one that Cody Rhodes isn't finishing the story.
Okay. All right. So I suppose it's back to me, is it?
It is, yeah. Nice.
All right. Cool. So I predict that we're going to see a crossover event somehow. I don't know how, but I'm just saying we're going to see some kind of cross-promotional event between the UFC and WWE this year, based on the TKO merger.
Fair enough.
Whether it's guest appearances from some of the UFC champions, a bit like how Floyd Mayweather and Big Show did their thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so something like that, I think, to do with the UFC. I think that's what there's going to be some sort of cross-promotional event.
You've got.
I don't know who's going to.
Well, you've still got, from WWE's perspective, you've got Brock and Lashley, and now CM Punk that were all in the UFC at some point. I'm not saying all of them were as good as each other. Some of them were slightly worse. Okay, so one of them was a lot worse. One of them shouldn't have bothered. There we go. Okay.
I mean, bless him for trying. Bless him for trying. I mean, fuck me. That's a hell of a move. Because you've been doing wrestling, which is it's a contact sport. It fucking hurts, yes, and it's hard, and you've got to be in a immaculate physical condition to really do well. But the thing is like the other person's
trying to look after you.
Trying to look after you. That ain't the case in the UFC. The other person is trying to knock you the fuck out.
Yeah,
like they're trying to hurt you. So yeah, he tried, bless him, and it didn't go very well for him. But at least he can say he did it.
Yeah,
he can say he did it, and it was and the only reason why was because of his name.
You've got quite a lot of female stars that could do that. Shayna Baszler was in it. Sonya Deville was in it. You've got what's her name? She's got a title shot next week, I think, or she had one. Oh, I can't remember her name.
Chick with oh god,
she's with the Creed brothers or whatever.
Creed brothers.
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, she was in UFC.
She looks like a machine.
Yeah.
She looks dangerous, like seriously, like that Luna Vachon kind of dangerous.
Yeah, they were all UFC, so I could see that happening. I think you're going to get something.
I don't think. Maybe nothing will come of it per se, but it just feels like since the merger was last year now, towards the end of last year, it feels like that's something that they could work on this year.
Yeah, that's fair. I can definitely see that happening. Right, should we go on to my last one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, this one. I'm not going to tell you what the prediction is until the end, but I am going to.
Okay.
I am going to start a prediction that starts next week and ends in November, because I'm going to predict the War Games match for this year. But
for fuck's sake!
It is going to start next week when inadvertently we're going to get to the last 6 of the Women's Rumble. And Bayley is going to accidentally eliminate Oscar. And then Bayley is going to go on. This may... Yeah. I'm not sure yet. I might change my picks. I've got 2 people in mind for when we do our predictions next week. Tune in. But one of the people I am debating at the minute is Bayley goes on to win the Rumble. And then cracks form in Damage Control. She gets to Mania and loses. So we're going to get Dakota Kai, Kairi, and Asuka are going to interfere somehow, take out Bayley, Bailey goes away. She disappears from TV for 3 months. She can have a nice break because she's been non-stop in WWE for years. I then think we're going to get to like SummerSlam time. And again, Io, if she's still champion at the time, is going to be defending. Damage Control are going to get involved, and Bailey's music's going to hit like it did. The crowd will go mental. Bailey will come out. Might even bring back the hugger music. I'm a hugger, and come out in that one. Maybe, I don't know. But she's going to come out as a baby face anyway and stand up to Damage Control. And then she's going to be like, I created you, and I can destroy you, and I am good at bringing in faction warfare. And then all of a sudden the music on the ramp is going to hit, and you're going to get Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, and a returning Sasha Banks come out to have the 4 horsewomen versus Damage Control in a War Games match.
There's only one problem I have with that. That's awesome, by the way. It's a great pitch, but there's only one problem I have with that. Is that I can't see the 4 horsewomen working cohesively together as a team, because Charlotte Flair is Charlotte Flair. Becky Lynch is, I'm not even sure what she's doing at the moment. She's kind of in between things. She's like just fighting anyone.
She said on Monday Night Raw, she said to Rhea Ripley that you're better than me, but the only way I can prove to myself that that's a lie or something like that. Can't remember the word and she uses, if I take your title. So she's going for Rhea's title. Okay,
all right, fine. Kind of see, now that kind of sounds like there was no one else available.
Yeah,
which is horrible to say, but I'm just that's just what comes to mind. I don't know. That's a lot of, because does Bailey have to go away for so long?
I don't know. I think it would be a nice little sort of pop return where she can transition from being the heel and Damage Control, which people still love Bailey no matter what.
She's so good as a heel, though.
Yeah.
She's so good as a heel, and I think people have really embraced it.
But then in them sort of like 2 months off or 2-3 months off, you could see Damage Control start to pick apart Charlotte and Becky, because Sasha might not even be in the company. Okay. And then, because last War Games, Charlotte and Becky were on the same team and they like hugged at the end or whatever. So them pair, I think, are okay, because they haven't had anything since then to say that they're against each other again. And then obviously Sasha and Bailey were always best friends anyway, so if they can convince Mercedes Moné to come back, which she hasn't officially signed for either company yet, because they're still debating on who owes who more money. Like they can even, I don't know, because the only thing that's putting me against that is the fact that they're leaving it too long to bring Sasha out into WWE. I think if they're going to sign her, she's going to come out sooner rather than later. Like, because there's no more like series of The Mandalorian that I know of that she's going to have to go off and film or whatever. But she could like, well, I just think that if you had that, it would be a decent 4-on-4 where both factions are legit factions, because the months away, you don't want to bring out the 4 horsewomen too early as like reunited. But then you give Damage Control enough chance, because at the minute, Damage Control is still getting beat most weeks, unfortunately, which they shouldn't be. They need to go on this like absolute tear of domination, where if they kick Bailey out, I think Dakota will be the one that leads the turn on Bailey, and then Bailey can go away. That's why I'm saying that she needs to disappear. And maybe not for as long as I'm saying, but at least a bit. So like whatever beatdown they do to Bailey looks bad, that Damage Control are then running away with it. And then there's only one team that can stand up to them, and that'll be the 4 horsewomen. And I think you might even get Regal coming out by that point to shout his War Games.
I mean, I don't know. It depends, really. It depends. I like it. I like that. It's a lot. That requires a lot of build and a lot of change in pace for everyone involved, because to make that happen, they've got to make sure that Sasha Banks wants to come back. That's got to be like step number 1, and they've got to say this is the plan we have. Then they've got to make sure that Becky, Charlotte, and Bailey all stay fit during that time, so that you don't get to a week before War Games and one of them's ill or hurt. You got to do the same with Damage Control as well. The thing is, if Bailey leaves Damage Control, is it going to have the same feel to it?
I think if they do it right with Dakota being sort of like the sneaky mastermind, because they've so many clips where people have pointed out, like when Asuka turned on Bianca, everyone looked shocked apart from Dakota on the side.
Yeah.
And there was like a few other things that like Dakota's sown seeds that she's the actual leader. And they could play like a video package of all the times that Dakota's sort of like been plotting this thing. Like they could even do a thing where like, because they can film this out of order because they're not exactly going to age drastically, and it's not like they were a lot younger. So you can have like Dakota even like having a phone call with Asuka saying join us or whatever, and then and bring your friend back, and then you could have that's when Kyrie come back. They could plot it like that Dakota's being this linchpin that's brought Damage Control into what they are. But I think that they just need they need someone big to go against, and I think in a War Games match you could have that sort of playoff as two big factions. Because again, as much as I like War Games, I've said is one of my favorite match types, but it's similar in the way that we say that there's no women's tag teams. There's no one really. You're just chucking a team together to go, you're in War Games now. Whereas this is a legit faction versus faction. The only way to end it is War Games.
Yeah, like when is that? Like November?
November, normally Survivor Series.
So so October they start the 4-week programming, or sorry, mid to late October they start programming the teams for War Games by just, like you said, just pushing singles competitors together that have a common enemy.
Yeah,
like the one just gone, like the men's one. They were all singles competitors on one team, and the other team was the entire Judgment Day. Like,
and the team still lost.
And they, because and the actual team lost. Like that doesn't make any sense to me. You know, if it's 4 random baddies and 4 random goodies, and they're gonna I can accept that, and whoever wins. I can accept that because they're all individuals. But when a whole squad, a whole team loses to a ramshackle, like thrown together side, I'm like, you know, that's like Arsenal losing to a pub team. You know.
But so that's why I think that, because I think the Rumble sort of leads up to Mania, which covers that part of the year. So that's to April, and then from April to SummerSlam, you can like write Bailey off until she comes back. And that's when she can come back in summer with Sasha Banks returning. Because they've already done it. WWE have shown that they're willing to pay someone and not use them. Because they've done it with Jade Cargill. Because they've paid a shitload of money and she is just doing fuck all. I know they've said that they've got her in developmental. I don't know. Like, AEW's not that bad, surely. Surely she's got the basics there for what to do, because she was dominant in AEW. Like, I didn't watch many of her matches, but she was unbeaten for like 50 matches or something like that.
I get, but again, you have to look at who else was on that roster. If they are all, because don't forget, WWE has a very high standard to adhere to. That's why you get some of these guys, like they look the real deal, you know, like Akeem and Razar, or whoever the fuck their names are, the authors of Pain. They looked the business. Like they were Vince's. They were like a tag team of Vince's wet dream, right? They were, you know, big, imposing, nasty-looking dudes. But they didn't flow in the ring. Like they didn't look safe. Well, I say safe. They injured people, but they just didn't look. They didn't look like they had it. And rather than send them to developmental for ages and then whatever, they had a really rushed call up. I think they hurt someone on the main roster, which was a big fucking problem. And then they were let go. Like, okay. And then they were brought back to development. So maybe Jade Cargill, maybe they just want to put some finishing touches onto her character. Yeah. They want to just make sure that she's not going to hurt herself. Because there's no point in like making this big grand entrance and she's injured within a week because, you know, she's not quite got it. Maybe I think they've just got a really, really high standard, like a really almost psychotically high standard of work and what they want from you. And if you can't show that, then they go, "That's not a problem. Okay, we'll just have to delay your debut. We'll work on it." Like if you show promise, I think that's
Yeah.
what they do.
Yeah, but going back to my main point on that is
Yeah.
that they've shown that they will pay Jade to just go to developmental. So I don't think they'd have a problem paying Sasha Banks or Mercedes Moné and just saying we're not going to actually bring you out until SummerSlam is a big return.
Yeah, just wait.
You can do whatever you want. We're still going to pay you up to that date. So Mercedes is going to be happy. She's going to be out going, yeah, okay, fuck it. I'm getting paid to do whatever. And then
she'll want to get back if she hasn't been keeping up with it. She'll want to get back into ring shape. She'll want to do good.
Yeah, but that's fine.
That's really good.
So yeah, but the actual pitch, because I didn't actually say what it was going to be that Bayley gets kicked out of Damage Control to force the War Games match.
Oh,
at some point this year.
Okay. Oh man.
Even if it's not the War Games match, I can't see Bayley ending the year in Damage Control, unfortunately, even though it's her creation.
You could flip the script on that and be like, will Damage Control exist by the end of the year?
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah. So I'm gonna drop my own pipe bomb now. Speaking of pipe bomb, by the end of the year, I think CM Punk is going to be gone.
Ooh, you think he's going to be a flash in the pan, one and done?
Yep. I think this is a short-term deal where he comes back, picks a lot of fights, talks a lot of shit, throws a lot of names, throws a lot of people under the bus, or so we think. He has the he's going to have a hardcore / any Falls Count Anywhere / street fight / whatever the fuck you want, any Extreme Rules stipulation match with Seth Rollins, because that's what people want. That's what they've been showing us. I think he will be at SummerSlam. He'll do something at SummerSlam. He'll do something at, I think, nearly every pay-per-view up until Survivor Series. And I think he will be in a losing team at War Games, the men's War Games. Because I don't think CM Punk's ever been in a War Games match.
He won't have been, no.
So that's something he would like. I think he'd like to cross off his list because he's been in the Chamber, he's been in the Rumble, he's been in the main. Well, no, he hasn't been in the main event of Mania. That was part of the problem. But he's, he could be in the main event of one of the main events of Mania. He's been in the main event of SummerSlam. He's main evented Money in the Bank. He's won Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
So he's done pretty much all of it. But I think by the end of the year, he'll either oh my god, my prediction is turning into just a loose guess. It'll be either that he says thank you, I'm done. Like I'm going to leave amicably this time. I'm going to leave under my own steam. Thank you very much for having me. I've had a great time, but I'm done, right? So he'll either do that by the end of this year at some point. It'll probably be after War Games in a losing effort, whatever that match turns out to be. He'll be on a team and they'll lose, and he'll be like, because that's where he showed up. So at the same place he showed up for his final year running the company, it does with a prediction or whatever that he leaves on the same event as well, and he has like they all leave the ring and he waves goodbye to the fans and stuff. The only problem with that is that if people know that he's leaving, they'll know that he's losing.
Yeah,
because I can't see him going out on a win.
No,
but sorry, go on.
Unless they don't tell people that he's leaving. If he doesn't say anything about wanting to leave, and then he has he puts his career on the line in the War Games or something like that. Which would be a stupid thing to do since it's a team.
Yeah, that's
But-
stupid. But not only that, but like if he does do the whole career on the line thing, then people would straight away know that he's leaving. It's not like when Shawn Michaels would do that and then win, like, or it's got a different feel to it, in my opinion. Yeah, so I don't think CM Punk will be with WWE past the end of this year. He looks in great shape. Like, the same with Orton and Styles when they've come back. They look in superb shape. The schedule is different now, though. He doesn't they seem to rotate because they've got a big roster on Raw, and they seem to rotate who's on each week.
Yeah.
So it's like so that you might have a week on, a week off, or you might have a week where you have a match, and then the next week you're talking, but no match. And CM Punk is like he talks like that's top part of the best thing. So I don't know. We'll see. I think he'll be gone by the end of the year at Survivor Series as a sort of full stop on the end of his thing, because I don't think he's back for years and years and years. Like I don't think he's got it. I don't think he's got that in him.
Yeah.
To go for years and years and years, because he's getting old as well. Like age isn't on his side. He could be as healthy as he wants. Your body just can't keep up. Ric Flair has proved that time and time again. That
Ric Flair will be his retirement match.
Oh my god! Like he has proved that the mind is there, but the body's not willing, and you just can't, and you can't force it. So I think rather than have a load of shit matches and your last hurrah in the company that you famously walked out of be shit, I think he kind of is like, right, use me sparingly in the ring. Like I'll wrestle sparingly. Let's do more story work on the mic instead. I'll wrestle when I have to. It's fine, but I can't do this for like 3 years. Like you can't book me in for a 3-year contract.
Yeah.
So I think some way, somehow, by the end of this year, CM Punk he'll leave under much, much better circumstances, where in the future he will have chances to do more work with the company and whatever else.
Yeah, that's
my last prediction.
Yeah, I think he definitely wants to take over, like maybe NXT or something like that, and try and give that a go at running it.
Oh, imagine if CM Punk's he's the general manager for NXT. That'd be so good.
I think so. I think that's where he'll end up.
So good.
I think that's where he'll end up, somewhere down like that. I think because he can take that and make it his own, similar to what he had at AEW. They can say, Sean can still do like the backstage stuff. He can still do like the hiring talent, going out scouting talent. But Punk can be the on-screen sort of face, and he can learn from Michaels how to do the stuff backstage as well.
Yeah, sure. The thing is like I've never doubted that Punk knows the business. I just think that at that time, so many things just weren't going in his direction. Like he was. I think he was in the WWE at the wrong time. If Prime Punk was there since maybe 3 years ago, I think he would have done. It would have been very, very, very different.
Yeah.
With Prime Punk, that's Prime CM Punk, not end of 2014, 2013 Punk.
Yeah. Well, that is our predictions for 2024 in WWE. Join us next week while we're doing our Royal Rumble predictions, because that is next week on Saturday. And join us you can join us throughout the year on other videos, but join us in December or January, and we will revisit this video and see how many we got correct. And I can see the number being very low for me, but there we go. But there we go. But anyway, I have been Orca, I've been joined by Ryu, and we will see you in the cheap seats.